start 10 seconds. Are you okay? You go?
Yeah. Don't know what's happening with my mic, but
That's all right. Give it 4 more seconds.
is it recording?
It is recording. Now.
Hi, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Look who it is.
Say the name.
Oh yeah. Say it.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Perch podcast of existential cowboy dread and a cloak of mystery. Phase 1.
Oh, I was really hoping you wouldn't miss the phase
No.
one. Perfect.
No, if I
Yeah.
know one
Oh
thing, it's
my
the phase
God.
1.
Welcome to Corona Perch, the existential cowboy and the ever-growing boy that'll nutty cloak of eternal dread. Phase 1. I'm Liam. This is Eric, and here we have our special guest,
Hello.
Megan.
Megan gets 2 microphones. That's
I'm
how
Megan,
special.
and I have 2 microphones, so what I say is double as important.
That's exactly it.
That's awesome.
All right. You want to start us off, Lim, here?
Sure. So let's start off. Megan, who are you?
What
What'd you do?
I
How did
am
you get
Megan.
here?
Oh, she
It is
did.
true.
Why are you in my car for now?
I got invited here
Yep.
due to Eric continuously asking me to be on this podcast.
Yep.
And then they took me, they drove me an hour away from my home. I don't know where I am. Now I'm being forced to be on this podcast in the basement. But at least I have 2 microphones.
Shoot, they know we're in a basement. Actually, they already knew that. Never mind.
I mean, what basement? Outside.
The
We're
deep
outdoors.
The crow lore goes thick. They know.
We
They
are
already know.
outside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
brought Megan on. I've known Megan for a while now. How long have I known you?
Ooh, 2019 is when we met.
They were going to say 20 years. It's been around 20 years,
It feels like
I
it.
think.
It's the start of the apocalyptic times.
I think it was 2019, but yeah, before the world ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we met at mentioned B. I think I might have mentioned the school I went to, but I guess I kind of doxed us just now. We can censor it. Anyways, we met at post-secondary, basically. We went to
Art
art
school.
school. We went to art school for 2 years. We met the first year. We basically were in a program that gave us a bunch of different art classes. So we did ceramics and illustration, painting, all that jazz. And then you were like, I'm out.
I was like, I really can't be in school anymore. It's just not for me. It's not how I learn.
Yeah.
So I had to peace out, but Eric and I had already solidified our best friendship forever.
Exactly.
We instantly clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric and Liam were already friends. And Liam drove me here. And that's how we became other best friends.
Yeah. We've known each other for like an hour. And
I
like,
mean,
we've-
no, we've known
we've
each
kn-
other before.
but we haven't like talked.
We bonded
We bonded.
about
You guys had a bonding experience. How was the
Yeah.
drive anyway? Even
it. Was
ask.
great.
Philosophical.
Philosophical, great. We talked about cats.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I guess that would have been something to
Cats
bond
and
on.
AI art.
AI art.
Yep.
Cats and AI art, my 2 favorite
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Did you listen to Frank Zappa on the way up?
No.
Oh darn. I was hoping
We
you
didn't
would.
listen to anything. We were
No
so deep
music?
in conversation.
You kept calling me weird names, so I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not going to listen to the music you sent me.
Wait, who was me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
it was
called
a
me,
good song. I recommended
Yeah.
you.
I know.
Montana by Frank Zappa.
but you called me a mean name, so no.
Yeah.
Names that cannot be said on the
I'm
podcast.
actually really nice to Liam off the podcast.
Yeah,
So
and I'm usually weird, but whatever.
anyway,
Yeah.
we do have a topic today.
Yeah.
Sort of. So basically, I guess how we're structuring this in a way, if you want to take it away,
Sure.
you can.
I'll take it. So what we want to do is we want to take plenty of time to talk with Megan about what she does and what she's about. But I feel like we can also continue our discussion from last time, specifically about expression, because I think it's a pretty relevant topic for an artist such as Megan.
Well, in art in general, right? But I guess it's really nice to have a third person on finally to kind of. You and I get so deep into it, and then we jump off onto different rails, right? So it's nice to
Yeah.
kind of have a third person be
Have
able
a
to
change
talk about it.
pace.
Yeah.
Let us know if you'd like us to do more guests.
No, if you're so tired of the 2 of us, you want a third.
No pressure.
That's
or
right. Yeah, no
anything.
big
Oh my
deal.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Should I talk about the art I do and stuff? I
I
feel
mean,
like
like
that might be a
stuff.
little important.
sort of.
Okay, guys.
We give you
So,
permission.
okay, here's my little intro about me. Eric and I met at art school. There, I was learning mostly illustration. I went to university post-secondary for illustration before dropping out 2 weeks in. I
Actually
said,
forgot you did that.
I can't do this anymore. I tried so hard. It was COVID times, you know the deal. I then pursued a tattoo career. I got my tattoo apprenticeship in December 2020, and I've been tattooing for just around 2 years now. Still do illustration on the side. Still do paintings once in a while when I feel like it. But I make money from tattooing.
Woo!
Very nice.
We'll put your handle. We can get a handle up
Yeah.
up here
Yeah.
somewhere. Most likely, yeah,
We
above
all.
you.
All right,
There.
Eric. Eric, time to
Yes.
make another handle.
That's what I gotta make. Yeah, now I gotta draw another handle. Great.
Yay!
Do you know your handle offhand?
Megan Kirwin.
At Megan Kirwin.
It's my name. Yeah.
It's literally the name. Okay. Yeah, if you want to
Yes.
check the her stuff out, it's fantastic.
Yep.
Tattoo, illustration, all that jazz, painting. You paint a
Lots,
lot.
lots of art. I just make art all the
Yes.
time.
Art. Awesome.
So, do we want to dive into the topic idea?
Sure.
Okay.
I think we can do that. So last time we were talking about individualistic expression just a little bit.
Yeah, we had delved into that after. Okay, I know we just talked about it. Our last episode was augmentation and originality, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we ended up we by the end of it we got into a huge thing about expression of the self and all of that, as well as art, right?
Yep.
So yeah, if we
I
want to,
wasn't there.
you weren't. No, you were not there,
Oop.
and you haven't seen the episode yet because it's
Nope.
not out technically.
Just got a verbal description of everything that happened.
That's right.
I guess that's what our podcast is.
Exactly. So I guess how do we want to start this with originality definition, sort of, or augmentation? Thoughts?
So let's talk about originality and how the individual should express themselves in their originality.
Okay,
Yeah, let's start with that.
that's a big one. That's a big
It
one to
is.
start with. Okay.
But I think it's very, and the reason why I think we should talk about this is that I think tattoos
mhm.
are something that really talks to that as well. Now,
Yeah.
I don't have any tattoos. You two have
literally
amazing
every tattoo I
tattoos.
have is made by Megan.
Yeah.
Literally every
And
single
I'm
one.
not making him do that. He chose
I
to do
choose to
that.
have every
Yeah.
piece of art on my body made by Megan.
He's
so
allowed to go to other artists.
I can. Probably won't. I should just because to help other artists.
Just
But
switch it up, mate.
but
I'm not complaining. What am I saying?
do you want me to start off with that just to give a
Yeah.
good quick start
Yeah.
to it?
Sure.
I guess so. We had talked about. I have a new book coming out called Dot the Robot. It's just about done actually. And I had brought that up last time because what I find very interesting, and this might actually be a good illustration for you to see what
Love.
we were talking about. Dot the Robot is based off 3 big inspirations.
Yep.
At least in character creation wise. So I had made the character based off of some Mega Man influence. Did you
Right.
ever watch My Life's a Teenage Robot when you were a kid?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh
No.
my!
Me neither.
You didn't either?
No.
What?
What is it?
We're gonna have a new Q&A in the Spotify, and it's gonna be, have you seen My Life's a Teenage Robot? Really
No.
good cartoon, like Powerpuff Girl era.
Yeah.
Did you watch Powerpuff
Interesting.
Girls?
No.
What?
I didn't watch a lot of TV.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you watch Powerpuff Girls?
No.
Oh my god. Okay.
I
well,
also
anyways,
didn't watch a
so
lot of TV.
so the cultured one's on the right side of the screen or left side of the screen for you. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the one. Yeah. So My Life's a Teenage Robot. I'll show you after the episode. And you might see the influence of the character. So character name's Jenny. So Jenny, Mega Man, and then my third one was actually a singer I enjoy listening to named Poppy.
Yep.
Those are my 3 inspirations for have created my character Dot from the new
Mm.
story Dot the Robot. Now, when you see the character, at least I think, and I've been told, when you see it, it is an original character, one that I have
Yeah.
created. And yet, when I give you the inspired ideas from it, you would be able to see its pieces, right? You'd go, oh, I see where you got that. I see where you got that, blah, blah, blah. So then that begs the question of what's originality? What has been augmented in this original idea? Blah, blah, blah. What? You going to say something?
No. Yeah, no, what you're saying is good. And then this is where I think we can interestingly take this to the concept of a sleeve.
Okay. Liam wants a sleeve. There's a tattoo artist right here.
Okay. Let's do it. What
Perfect.
do you want?
But you think about the sleeve as a whole,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
It has a whole bunch of different parts
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
that are different tattoos that represent different things.
Yeah.
It is, in a sense, like Dot, right?
Whoa. Okay.
Because it takes inspiration
Mm.
from different influences,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but it makes something on your person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how else or anything else.
You see it as a
it,
whole.
it represents you.
Yeah. And that's
Right?
I think that's a good way to illustrate this point we were making, that we were not arguing about, but kind of getting down to the bottom of last episode was
Yeah.
original works, augmented original works. We got into deeper parts like when you add too much or too little context to something, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess with that in mind, and really you can go on a tangent about whatever, but
Okay,
just
I'm
as a
ready.
good start,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's go.
That's fine.
When I am commissioned to do custom tattoos, it's almost always starts out with someone sending me a bunch of photos of either tattoos or other art, basically art they like. And it's my job to take a little bit of everyone else's art along with my own style and knowledge I've developed over my years to create something new for them, but I need it to be something I know they're gonna like, right? Everything I'm making is for the client. It's on their body. It really doesn't matter that much, at least what I think about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I play this little tricky game every day of like how much is taking from other people, how much is just taking inspiration, and all that. And so much so that now my process of making almost any art, whether it's from painting, illustration, like anything outside of tattooing, my first step initially is I want to see a bunch of photos of what's inspired me or where I'm thinking of going with it. Like I need that visual I don't know, idea to go off of, I guess. Like I don't know, where am I going with this? Let's think. Like what I was saying earlier to Liam a little bit was when I cross the boundaries of like illustration to tattoo, I feel like I can get away with a little bit more in the way that if I'm okay, let me think.
That's okay.
That's fine. Yeah,
Take your
totally.
time.
Thinking. If lost.
I can continue if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, so what I find, actually, I was going to ask you a question. So, because you still do your own illustrations.
Yes, I have to be happy.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I'm like, yeah, at this point, like, are you just illustrating for? Sorry, when Liam drinks water, I tend to stare at him. Are you illustrating for you or for someone else more?
Oh, I see.
So what I was gonna ask, right?
Yes.
Oh no, you go ahead if you've got your.
Go
okay.
for it.
Well, what I was gonna ask was more so like, because you said you need that visual idea kind of spark, right? But
Yeah.
you're also drawing for someone else, basically.
Yeah.
So that would be a whole different venture for yourself.
Exactly.
Finding your own inspiration. I guess.
Exactly. But I found like, so when I started tattooing and got really into it, I took a break from everything else because I really needed to dive into tattooing. It's definitely like been the hardest artistic thing I've ever tried to kind of master. So it's definitely been something that I had to put my full focus into the first year or so, and I completely stopped making art for myself. Everything I made was either to be tattooed as flash, up for grabs.
I remember you telling me that. You were going through it.
Or customs for other people, and at the start I'm like, this is great. This is all I've ever wanted. Like, my job is art. I make art every day. And I'm like, so then why am I so upset? And why do I feel like I'm not getting that creative kind of output the way I have my entire life before this? And so I kind of had to take a step back and like designate time in my life to be making, only painting and only illustration. And it was really frustrating at the beginning because let's say my skill level with my illustrations was up here before, but once I started tattooing and I wasn't practicing that skill as much, it went back down, and I felt very frustrated trying to work on things because I'm like, why isn't it just working like before? And it wasn't until I was like, well, my process for tattoos is get all the visual ideas first and then put it out. So my process for illustration has to be the same. Just how my little brain works.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Interesting. So wait,
Guess so.
What did you do beforehand? Did you just kind of do what came to mind?
Yeah, I think I was a lot more free with it beforehand. I definitely was in high school. I had a lot more ideas, felt a lot more creative always.
Okay.
Whereas now I think, so I feel like the more art you see, the more you realize there are no creative ideas, as we were saying before.
Whoa, originality and augmentation? Holy
Yes.
crap.
Something
Comes back
like
around.
that.
Yeah. All right.
So it's, I don't know. I don't know. Before I just simply had the ideas.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I know. Very frustrating shift for me in my life when I just didn't have that anymore.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's hard for me to completely understand because I feel like I remember when we were at school, that was kind of what I felt like I had to do was continuously have an idea ready to go. But
Yeah.
that's not how I work, and I think I've
Not how
mentioned
anyone works.
well, and that too, right? I think I had mentioned on one of the episodes already. Now is my art usually comes right from music, and not that I'm taking complete ideas or whatever. But for example, Poppy the singer is one of the main inspirations for Dot.
Mhm.
And there's a whole narrative I have in my brain from her music, whether that's actually what's conveyed or not. And that's
Cool.
where I got huge inspiration from for the story.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I'd always been. That's why first year at school I had a rough time because I don't think I had the correct
Yeah.
media to use as well as music inspiration for things. Most of my paintings were made actually from Smashing Pumpkins songs because one of their albums is completely about artist block. So that's kind of what I ended up doing.
Love it.
But that's a little off topic. But anyways,
I'm so lost from the topic already.
dude, in all honesty, I like the idea. Something came up. I completely forget. It wasn't about augmentation though. I really liked it, but we'll come back to it. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But either way, Liam, thoughts?
Liam, take it away.
He's been silent, and just staring at us,
Yeah.
drinking his water.
Yeah.
I've just been thoughtfully listening.
Mhm.
It's-
Love.
Yeah, everything you have to. It's always nice to get a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's both of you went to Beale, and I
Yeah.
Bleep.
believe
The school.
We can
Darn.
censor it. We went to
The
the
art
school.
school.
we went to the school. So I would say the thing is the way that I do art is actually it's pretty different, right? Because
course, yeah.
in a sense, my art is more geared towards solving a problem
Mhm.
in the sense that I am working with plastic to do some cool things. And I don't know if really, because I feel like you two have the very similar, like the on-demand thing of school that you need to have a topic to keep going and how you just don't work very well that way. And in a sense, I do sort of come from there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, diversity of art, it's really nice to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, what was interesting, I was thinking about you and I were talking about being hermits,
Love being a
Yeah.
hermit.
right? Being a hermit. So
Liam and I were also talking about this in the car. For
Yeah.
the record.
oh, we can do a whole hermit talk.
Yeah,
here.
we can.
But what's interesting is we just had the anthology is released by this episode. We should already have it in print, I believe.
Go buy that anthology. I'm not even joking around with you guys right
Can we
now.
get a handle
Go
right
buy
up
it.
here? Oh my gosh! Thanks, Megan. The anthology will be completed,
Yep.
and the fashion magazine. So I didn't even realize what I know.
It's all happening at once.
I know, right? Actually,
Damn.
and I don't know if I've mentioned this on here yet or to you. Originally, it was going to be Victoria exclusive.
Yeah.
I'm getting 20 copies here.
Yo.
Yeah, so I don't know what the deal is with
Yo.
that yet. I will only have 20 copies for now to sell. So we'll see. Eric might have already dealt with that, so we'll see about that. But anyway,
Future Eric.
future Eric, which I guess might be past Eric right now. Figure it out because I'm not doing it.
Now I'm
Yes.
confused.
Yeah. Wait.
When will then be now?
Soon.
How soon?
I've lost the plot.
Oh, I was
Hermit.
Hermit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess I was getting to a thing where I guess art process. So I really like working with people.
I love where this is going.
Art process, I think it'd be fun to talk about because we had dabbled in it a little bit now.
Mhm.
But I've noticed I get into a huge thing of like I got these big ideas and blah 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 blah, like do all this stuff, and I did all that stuff, and now I'm like, dude, I just want to sit in my room, blast music, turn the lights off, and just draw or write. And that's what I'm doing now. We finished the 2 big projects. And despite wanting to do bigger projects now, I'm going to be waiting because I want to finish Dot the Robot, and we'll be writing an album. So I know the 2 of you go in hermit mode too, I guess.
It's sort of funny. I'm actually doing the exact opposite. I'm really putting myself out there for
Yeah.
the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm applying to all sorts of positions in my universities, like
The one we won't name.
the one we won't name.
University school.
the one that
That's
that I
cool.
won't dox.
Yeah.
Like in my student council, I'm applying to be the environmental commissioner.
Yeah.
I'm also doing all sorts of things with our community garden project,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to really get involved with students at campus to try to make it more see what kind of ecological impact we can have.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to do the other. I was sort of taking a more passive role throughout the summer, especially
Mhm.
with what we were doing, because I was sort of just helping you out with what your projects were.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to do, not exactly with my company or with the company,
Yeah.
my company.
Your company. You own the
Yeah.
cherry.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm doing a little bit of the opposite right now.
Mhm.
I'm sort
That's
of
really cool.
I've been a hermit for a while, and now I've
Mhm.
decided now I can't be a hermit anymore. I'm
Mhm.
in my last year of university, undergrad. Got to live it up.
Yeah.
It's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, okay, being a hermit's an interesting thing. I've been thinking about this a lot recently,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh my gosh, you and I thinking the same thing at the same time.
This never
Unheard of.
happens. This never happens,
Yeah.
guys.
Ever. We're never completely in sync.
Okay. I don't know where this is coming from. Basically, what was I thinking? Oh,
Hermit.
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 So, when I was in high school, I don't mean to put myself on blast, but one could say I didn't have many friends. I was a hermit by, what else was I gonna do?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was always making art because I was in my room. I was alone all the time. Like, why not pass the time by making art? And now that I'm growing a little older and learning how to be a little bit more social for the first time in my
Yeah.
22 years of
We
life.
became adults,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's crazy. I just had my social era. I made 2 new friends,
Woo!
which is like
Whoa.
pretty
Not
crazy.
bad.
I
Not
love
bad.
it.
Yes. And I'm getting
No.
increasingly frustrated.
I think I said really quietly. Am I one of them?
Oh, sorry. 3 new friends.
Oh,
Oh, no, you had to say it in the mic.
oh.
Megan was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't
Clip
hear
it,
that."
clip it.
Anyway,
Sorry.
dude. Wait, yeah, it was said this is proof now. You're a third friend.
It's on the air.
Oh my god.
Anyways, guys, I've lost it. I lost the whole
Say the name of the podcast.
Perch
And
and the cowboy of cloaks.
And the count. I like that.
the Cowboy of Cloaks.
I like that.
We could-
The Corona person. The count.
I'm giving you so many good new names.
I mean, okay, not gonna lie. I feel like we need, like, as a comic book creator, I might need to make like the Cowboy Crow or something and have like a story.
We should have a
Yeah.
story.
I
Or
have a
just
whole
at least like
plot.
have it in some other story, like make an appearance.
I could have a crow show up at one point.
Like in Wendy.
Wendy could have. Well, okay, this is the.
Wendy's not really crow.
You know what? To bring back the originality and augmentation topic, what I'm really excited about for Wendy and the Sprite and all my comic books is I try to keep it as original as I can. And actually, you know what? We should probably take a quick break before I get onto that, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let's right after the break, let's talk a little bit about Wendy and originality.
Hold the phone, people.
Yay. Ah! It's like, thank God.
God, give me some more. Welcome back
Welcome to
from
Corona
the break.
Perch.
Testing.
Welcome to. Well,
Well,
Megan, say it.
Welcome to Corona Perch podcast.
and we're back.
I liked that.
That was good.
What?
All right, we are back, everybody. Thanks for chilling for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about 2 different things. I interrupted by an accident because
Yeah.
you had forgotten what you were saying. So go
No,
ahead.
didn't forget. Didn't forget. It was interrupted.
Okay, literally, I said. So anyway,
It's joking.
actually throw me off your podcast. I'm
It's
sorry.
fine. We were talking about being a hermit. I was talking about how I didn't have much friends, and then I made some friends, and now in my adult life, I'm realizing that to make art, you kind of have to be a bit of a hermit. You have to be alone, or at least. Okay, that's probably not true. I am having a hard time making art when I'm not alone.
Mhm.
When I'm with other people, and it's like it's hard to choose that and choose time for yourself when I kind of feel like, I mean, finally I have friends, or like I owe it to these people to hang out with everyone,
Mhm.
and all that. And so I don't know where this started with being a hermit is the problem.
No.
I don't know where we're wrapping this to.
I get that point actually, and I know you and I have. Sorry, you. Can
Yeah, you go ahead.
I just remember like you and I like hanging out and making art together, and
Yes.
I enjoy that. I have a hard time getting exactly in the zone though. I've always been like that,
100%.
right?
100%.
Yeah, like even I know you and I will go to Starbucks to get work done or something, and
Mhm.
even then I'm not fully in it.
Me
Yes,
neither.
even
So-
like when I'm drawing my art at the shop versus when I'm drawing it at home, it's a whole different
Oh, yeah.
experience doing it at home, you know?
Well, and I think there's a connection between the obligation as an artist to draw things that are going to appeal to other people, but then also trying to basically, when there's somebody else in your presence, try to talk with them, because
Yeah.
that's just sort of common courtesy, right? I
Yeah.
think there's a bit of a link there.
100%. When Eric and I make art together, it ends up being pretty silent.
Yeah, and,
pretty
well,
quiet.
and
And-
you and I know each other. Like that's
Yeah.
fine.
But I mean, with newer friends or people that aren't necessarily artists, it's awkward and it feels rude
Yeah.
to, try and make art when you're being social. They don't necessarily go together the best.
Yeah, it's actually interesting too, because when you have acknowledged that's what you guys are gonna do, it's still weird.
Yep.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Seriously, I hang out with people. Oh, you want to go get work done wherever? I'm like, sure, and then we're doing it. And I'm like,
I'm like, I wish
Sure.
I was doing this alone. I wish I didn't invite someone else to do this.
seriously.
Yeah.
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 That's a whole other shabam, right? And also, like, I like having music going,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't want one earbud in. I want both. Like,
No,
I
you
need
want to
the
be
full.
fully into music.
Yeah. So that's like actually a whole other topic too. That
Oopsie.
Oh, Megan, you actually got us off the topic. I'm angry.
I was told one rule before coming on this podcast, and it was to stay on topic.
I thought it was going to be to
I
have
think it was
fun.
the op-
That's a lie. Me when I lie. Sorry.
Wow.
We I forgot what I was gonna bring up a specific thing. Totally forget it. However, during the break we had mentioned something else that you wanted to talk about. I was really excited for. Do you remember what it was?
Of course I do.
Really? Go ahead and say it.
So what I remember saying is, Eric, take it from here.
So basically, what Megan was going to say was, take it from here.
Ooh, and Liam, back to you.
Well, what we talked about before the break is we were talking a little bit about Wendy and originality.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that. How
I
about?
literally completely forget the point I was gonna say
You're welcome.
about it, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, we can go to the next topic.
We lost the
sure.
plot.
It's all good.
That's okay, because that's what we're about here. Is that like sometimes we lose our train of thought and we're just being ourselves.
I feel
Actually,
so
that's
good
part
in
of
this
the podcast.
basement and safe. Thanks, guys.
That totally isn't a basement.
And we're outside, by the way.
Yeah,
We're
we're
outside.
actually outside.
And that dark window over there? That's
It's fake.
inside. That's the window to inside.
That's inside.
We could even talk about we were going to, well, what could we talk about that I totally forgot.
The internet is what we were talking.
Sure.
So during our break, I remembered
Yes, thank you. Okay.
sharing your art on the internet as an artist.
Yes, please take
And-
that away, because we have to do that often.
You
Mhm.
in this day and age, it's actually vital, very, very important.
Unfortunately.
Instagram is a must, and TikTok. I am every day fighting getting on TikTok because I don't want to be on there.
Do you post on TikTok?
I think I have maybe 5 times.
Because I know you were. I remember you telling me you were like, I'm going in. I don't want to, but I'm going in.
Once a week I think it's time. I have to get on TikTok. I know the algorithm's better on there. I know it's easier for artists to blow up.
Yep.
But I already hate feeding the soul-sucking void of Instagram. So why would I add another app to that?
Yes.
And I don't want to say anything bad about Instagram, even though I just did, by the way, because
Yeah.
they have gotten me all my business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, so then let's stop here. Let's get on this topic
Okay.
about getting onto or about being on a structure that you're not very happy with, but it does bring you a lot of success.
Yes.
I was going to bring up that word success because we had mentioned, I believe on the last episode, otherwise you and I have talked about it, is
Yes.
what do you define as measured success for you? Because you just said TikTok helps artists blow up.
Yeah.
Is the point to blow up? What do we want to blow up? What would you define success as once you've blown up or haven't?
To me, kind of, I guess the success I'm after in life is people seeing and knowing my art.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to see something I draw and think that's Megan Kirwin.
Yeah.
It's not about the money. Something
Yep.
we were discussing in
Yep.
the car ride. You met.
Okay.
Yeah.
Darn,
It's not about fans. It's just about getting my art out there.
Yep.
People knowing it, people seeing it. I don't even know why. I guess that's a whole other thing of like selfishness in artists.
and hey,
whatever.
if that's your goal, then great. We could delve into that, but otherwise, that's what you
Period.
want. Period.
I'm ending my sentence.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that's pretty aligned with what we're trying to do. We
Mhm.
Yep.
just want to be known, and we want to be a force that helps other artists be known, and that we can bring attention to the artists that don't get a lot of attention that we feel like deserves the attention
Yeah.
because of industry.
And I would say the anthology is doing a great job of that. If you haven't checked out the anthology
you.
or bought it, please go check it out. It is
Oh my
great.
god.
She's a natural.
I can
I'm
plug
so
anything.
sure.
Come on.
I that thank you. And you know what? I'd like to say there are two things that we really like to strive for at All's Cherry as well as just through our art is being yourself.
Yeah.
You know, embrace the fact that you're human, embrace the fact that you are simply a person. And of course this sometimes has to be avoided, but original works is a big one we're all about, and that's what we had talked about in the last episode. It was all about original works and what's defining them, because as we've said, there are artists we know, and we went to Fan Expo, who make fan art, right? And that's what made us question what is original, because we encourage fan art. We encourage that people are making art and that they're able to enjoy something they like, right?
Yeah.
But we also know people that make fan art that we know have more potential.
Right.
And then when it comes to measuring success, it's like, well, what are you doing to get your success, which is then pushing away your actual goals.
Totally. And I mean, okay, so I can bring this back to tattooing.
Bringing it back.
Because,
Perfect.
you know, sometimes someone sends me an illustration from a children's book they read growing up, and they love this picture and they want this exact illustration tattooed on their body. I will happily do that. I'll obviously change the design a little bit so it suits the tattoo form better. But in terms of like stylizing and like in terms of am I worried that I'm stealing another person's art? I'm not, because it's crossing the mediums.
Yeah.
And that's what gets wait, what am I saying?
You
Last
were
time we
talking
talked
last
about
time,
this,
yeah.
I forgot it.
That's
I
okay.
went off the rails. So I'm
That's all right.
trying again.
It's okay.
But more the idea of like, I'm going to happily do that and it's going to make me my money, and it's not necessarily fulfilling as an artist to me.
Yeah.
The same way that I'm sure it's not fulfilling for these people to draw their fan art all the time, but that's what, you know, part of their job working at a fan expo is. Because I'm sure out of all their prints, that's what's selling the best.
Yes. You are right. I'd like to bring back a topic we had discussed before. I had mentioned something that I guess I coined as the 3 degrees of pride.
Yes.
Which I think is, you watched it, I think. Did you?
I hate to brag, but I did watch the episode.
Literally caught up on all the episodes. Our biggest
Except
fan
for
is
the
our
last
podcast.
one that has yet to be posted.
You
And that's not
are
my
actually-
fault.
It's your fault.
Yeah, that's your fault. I haven't even watched it yet. Come on.
Literally transcend electronics. And
Be
just, like, get into
better.
the
I
video.
told you to send me it early.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I made that
You
up.
didn't.
Once again, I lied. Sorry.
You can wait like everyone else has to.
I actually felt the guilt for like
I
5
keep
seconds.
lying. I
Wait.
can't help it.
I mean, but I think this is a good point to bring up now, because we talk of the 3 degrees of pride, which I will bring up if you hadn't seen the episode, fake fan. Basically, there is. Let's start with full pride. So you create a full original work.
I already know how I'm going to apply this to tattooing.
That is so
Keep
awesome.
going.
And that's what I was really excited for. First degree of pride is you have created something wholly original.
Mm-hmm.
Second degree of pride, someone asks for a Metroid. Metroid's a video game. Metroid character as a tattoo, and then you're like, all right, so you do that a little bit in your style, and then thirdly, someone says, can you sell this Metroid statue? And you're like, sure, and you sell it. So you have now gone from completely wholly original and proud of this work to sort of your thing, but kind of proud, and then the lastly is this isn't even yours, but you made money.
Exactly.
Yep.
Go off.
Exactly. So my first degree of pride is when I draw a flash piece, up for grabs piece, something that's totally mine that I love, and so I want to get it tattooed. And
At Megan Kirwin.
At Megan Kirwin on Instagram, and they, you know, they're giving me full creative license, freedom, whatever. Second degree of pride is maybe someone comes to me, they have their idea all ready for me, but they say, do it in your style, do whatever you want to do, mix it up. I'm still going to be proud of that. There's still a chance I'm posting it on the gram.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I'm doing a flash piece, I'm definitely posting on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the third degree?
The third
what
one.
I was saying before, right?
Yeah.
If I'm doing a copy of an illustration from a children's book, and I'm if any tattoo clients are out there watching me and they're like, that's me. She's talking about me. I have that illustration. It's nothing against you, because I have those tattoos too, that it's like, this is simply just a memory for me. It's not about the art. But then, I mean, obviously it's that much more rewarding when people are in it for my art, Right.
Sure.
And there's where the pride comes from.
Yeah.
Of that. Like of course you're proud of what is completely yours.
But they're all making me money, and as much as I hate to keep bringing up money as an artist
Yeah.
in this day and age, like that's
Well.
really what you have to be focused on.
Yes.
Well, and I think Megan's bringing up a point here that we didn't really think about before that really raises the stakes of our previous conversation about the degrees of pride.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're doing your own individual work in parallel with some more just like commission based drawing something else
Which
in parallel,
yeah.
right? You're doing both of them equally.
Yeah.
That's an interesting dynamic because you're taking requests on what people want you to draw, but you're also saying, hey, I've got these unique pieces that are one of a kind that are
Mhm.
designed by me. If you
Mhm.
like one, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost say it's a healthy dynamic.
I would say it's very balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing yourself to explore you're allowing yourself to explore your own creativity and put your art out into the world and your originality out into the world.
Yeah.
But you're also not limiting yourself just to being original.
Yes.
I have an interesting illustration to bring up for that is I guess for playing guitar for myself. I've hit a point now where I used to play a lot of guitar and I stopped for illustrative purposes and art and whatever. But I would learn a lot of songs, right? And I stopped whatever. I got back into guitar a lot in the last year or two. And I'm like, oh, I'll relearn the songs I used to play. And I was getting so bored. I'm like, I would rather write my own. And that's why I want to start writing an album, because I'm like, I would just have more fun making my own work.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
yet every so often I'm like, man, but that one song's so fun to play by this whole other person that isn't me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's totally okay, right? It's a
Mhm.
nice break.
Mhm.
It even gets me some inspiration and even
Yeah.
chances to learn from it, right? So yeah, I'd call that a good
Yeah.
balance.
And that's, I mean, I've learned so much about. I've found my style so much through art that clients have sent to me as inspiration for their own custom
Yeah.
works, because they see art and they're like, ooh, I want a tattoo like this. And then they find me and think, oh, her style would suit this kind of idea. And then I can pick up things because my clients are introducing me to other tattooers with similar styles
Yeah.
around the world.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
course.
Which is super cool.
No, I like that. Awkward silence.
I
Let's
don't-
just sit for a moment.
Awkward silence. Stare, Megan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know where to go with that.
No,
Yeah.
and that's that. I
Good.
like that. That was a really good little tangent there on
It is.
originality, augmentation,
Slay.
and a balance of work life, really. Because, like you said, people go to Fan Expo or even any con in general to
Mhm.
go sell their fan art, and we know that is what's going to sell the most. Especially
Yeah.
like there was a lot of Barbie illustrations, obviously, because Barbie
Yeah.
had just come out.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse as well, right? I guess what we at All's Cherry and what Liam and I strive to do is to keep the voice of originality there. There's nothing wrong with fan art. There's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with doing a cover
Mhm.
of a song. Like you enjoy the work of that someone else has done that you're inspired by.
You want to pay
Mhm.
tribute.
Yeah.
That is, in a sense, also very, if you do it correctly and passionately, it's also very, what's the word? Meaningful.
It's meaningful. Well, and it's beautiful if you're able to get inspiration from someone. Like I'm sure they feel just as amazing about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I guess what we strive to figure out is, it's hard in art, especially at Comic-Cons and stuff, to be able to do your own art because it's not going to sell well.
Totally.
Possibly, right? And that's what's
Totally.
scary about it. And yet, I guess we want to make sure that people aren't scared of that possibility of taking
Mhm.
the other turn.
Take the risk.
Yeah.
Yes, we had mentioned risk. I don't remember which episode we had talked about risk, but it's important.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of strive for something new.
Yeah.
That was probably our first episode when we talked about mistakes.
That's
It
right.
Definitely
That's a
was.
while
Yeah.
ago.
It was. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that was. We're on this is episode 5 now.
Yep.
But and
Boy.
that is another good example of what we're doing here. Is we're trying to obviously we're taking a formulaic idea of making a podcast, right? But we're trying to make things new, and we're taking the risks and mistakes. Oh my gosh, even just this episode in general, we had mistakes we had to fix. We had a whole new mic set up and all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. But if you don't take the risk, you don't get the fun, you don't get the learning experience.
And again, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to have a more candid podcast
Yeah.
where we're having a coherent topic that we're talking about that we think has some value to
Yeah.
people out in the world. And we're not just like sitting around here and just like cracking inside jokes or whatever. We're trying to, but we are still being ourselves.
Yeah.
Period.
That's the big thing, right?
Period. Like, oh my
Yes.
god.
Period.
And I guess I can go on another mini tangent from here.
Sure.
When my friend here, Eric, first
Me?
told me about this podcast idea he had back in the day, a couple months ago, he was like, Megan, you gotta be on this podcast. And I was like, hee hee.
No.
Hee hee hee.
That quote.
Will not be me. I will not.
That's-
I'm not made to hold a microphone.
Yeah.
No one should have given me this or this. May I?
You're like, no, gives you 2 microphones.
You know, a huge fear of mine has always been public talking and more so making a fool of myself on the internet. And podcasts have always been extremely intimidating to me because, you know, your words are captured forever.
They're cemented into.
They're
the
cemented. And oh boy, I say so many words all the time, and most of them aren't even that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was very nervous, very, very nervous to ever make an appearance on this podcast. I was like, how am I going to get out of this for the rest of my life and still be friends with Eric? This is going to be hard.
It's on the line, and the episode is not done. We still got 20
Like, that's
more
crazy.
minutes.
And then I watched, I think it was simply just the first podcast episode where you guys were talking about how you're kind of embracing this more candid approach and taking risk and being okay with looking stupid. And it reminded me of this quote from my favorite drag queen, which I'm going to misquote, but it's Katya. And she said something along the lines of, if you're not looking back a year ago at what you did,
Mhm.
and you're not embarrassed by it, then you're not being creative enough.
I love that.
Wow.
Right. Love that. Because everything I make 2 weeks after, I'm embarrassed by it. I'm like, that's awful.
Yep.
The second I finish any art piece, I can look at it and see exactly what I'm going to do better next
Well, you're
time.
growing, and that's fantastic.
And I'm
It's-
so excited by it.
Of course.
because it's very surface level, that quote, but it goes so much deeper into
Yeah.
like improving as a person and growing as a person and
Mm-hmm.
going through the struggle that is life and enjoying it.
And the discomfort of life, too,
Yes.
is what I really like. And that's
Yes.
why I was like, you know what, fine.
And that's awesome.
Here I
Yeah.
am.
And when we had talked about that comfortability, people, and obviously people strive for comfortability more, right? Liam adjusts his seat position to be comfortable. And I challenge you to be not comfortable. Thus, the podcast is more interesting.
And
You're
just like
watching.
that.
Clip.
Just like
Audio
that.
listeners, I just contorted myself into a weird position.
But that's the
Audio
thing, like,
listeners, he's out of the room.
audio listeners, Liam is off the podcast. Liam's 1 down.
Liam's
2 to go.
Liam's off the perch.
Liam's off the perch.
The crow
early.
has departed.
Yeah. Liam's the crow.
That sounds like a presidential like code name.
Crow has departed.
The crow.
I repeat, the crow has departed. I forgot what I was. Oh,
Well,
well, you know what? Actually, a good example is Chapter 0 of Wendy. I'm gonna plug my comic again.
Whoa.
And
There
if
it
you haven't bought the
is.
comic, you got to go buy it.
Actually, before we go, we should probably take another break quickly.
Yeah.
Thoughts on a break
Oh yes.
I would love to take a mini break. It has nothing to do with the blinking light on the screen over there.
that you probably can't see because we're gonna cover it with something. Back in a moment.
Crow to perch.
Crow on a perch.
Rattlesnake.
Just had to drink a bunch of water.
Back on.
And we're back on the perch.
Welcome.
Now we're back on the perch.
We're
Back.
back on the perch, everybody. Just a quick break we had there. Last thing I was discussing, well, we were basically just talking about looking back at your growth.
Wendy 0.
Wendy 0, yeah. So we were
Yes.
talking about growth as an artist, and actually it could just go back to as a person, right? So Chapter 0 of Wendy is a big one for me, at least, because as you said, if you look back and you're not embarrassed by what you did, you aren't being
Mhm.
creative enough. That's what you
Yep.
said, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So at least for Chapter 0, my first comic I made actually when we were at Bleep School. School we went to. The second year, I believe, last year when I had graduated, I had created the comic book Wendy Inspired Chapter 0. Looking back at it, after I had made 2 more Wendy's, Overflow, and now the anthology as well as Dot the Robot,
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but look at Chapter 0, and I don't why I hate it.
Like cringe.
I really do. Just
Yeah.
so I look at it, I'm like, wow, like that's
Yeah.
the best
I'm
I could do.
surprised.
Yeah.
I do, but I can't help but love it. I look at it, and I'm like, man, I just love it because I see it, and I'm like, dude, it
Yeah.
all started there. And I really do love the cover for it as well. I think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't also help say like Overflow's my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so I guess that's a big one for me. I'm really excited to see how Dot the Robot goes because, well, actually, and another good point with this hermit thing is,
And another one.
and another one, another thing I gotta say about it is, so sorry.
Colonel New York, is that you?
Dude, Colonel New York is here with his metal pizza
He's
slices,
arrived.
and he's
Yeah.
gonna take out the crow. Who would win, crow or New York?
Who would win?
Who would New York or a crow? Train of thought. Did I lose it?
No.
No. So what I'm excited for Dot the Robot, and it comes back to this hermit idea, is when I'm creating a comic, especially one this big, I want to write the whole thing first.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is through this anthology and working, I haven't drawn in a while, like a long time. I drew Wendy and Sprite for the cover of the anthology, and I haven't drawn Wendy since chapter 2. Which is before Overflow. So, okay, I just said a lot of words, but I have drawn Wendy and the Sprite as a comic book in years now, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
I had to draw Wendy for the anthology, and I was like, whoa, like, I had to get back in the flow, right? It took me a couple of tries.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did it, I was like, Wendy looks awesome. Sprite looks fantastic. They look so much better than chapter 2.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to draw again. And yet I haven't. I'm doing all these things.
Yes.
I'm getting back into Dot the Robot. That is going to be written, and then I'm going to draw. So
Yeah.
now I'm already so pumped to see how different everything's going to be for my art. Especially because I'm going to take a whole different vibe for this one. I'm getting a whole different feel for it. It's actually going to be, I'm going to have to put a little, not a censor, but like an age thing at the front because it's going to be a little more somber, a little more serious, more cartoon violence. Not in a bad way, just more so.
More like
I have to say what you're getting into kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not completely for kids. Teen violence, I guess, for like cartoon
12 and
violence.
up.
12 and up. But I'm thinking of doing it all hand-drawn rather than electronic.
Cool.
Because that's how they used to do it, right? Some people
Yeah.
still do it that way, and it gives a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also another risk I'm taking, a whole
Mhm.
other learning curve, as well as getting back into the groove, going hermit mode, seeing
Yeah.
how she goes, and getting back into what I guess kind of what you were saying about how you stopped doing what was best for you for your art, and then you
Mhm.
got back into it. You figured out your kind of groove.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that was my big tangent on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Liam, what about you? Any art you look back on and are embarrassed by?
You've grown a lot. in the
I-
last year.
Because your art is so different
I
than a visual, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little easier to mark our growth.
the
Sort of.
I would say the thing is I don't know because for me
Period.
for me I guess it's always been a consistent process about both me drinking water. Make fun of me for drinking
Gulp,
water.
gulp.
Yeah.
Glug glug. Drown.
It's always about always trying to improve. The thing is with when it comes to 3D printing is that there is I wouldn't say steep curve, but there's definitely a learning curve that every single time there's a new issue, you don't know how to solve it. And then you need to look and you need to learn, you need to figure out how do I solve this? How do I do that? And then it's a constant learning process. Now, I guess when I look at some videography, I guess like storyboarding, whatever that I did from a while ago, it's like, wow, that was a different time.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, something that I haven't explored a lot. Then it's like, yeah, I've experienced something similar, but again, I'm also very much about the mindset of just keep moving forward and keep learning
Yep,
from
of course.
past because that is. I mean, I guess I've done some embarrassing things with my printer, and some embarrassing mistakes have happened. I guess I guess I need to admit that, but yeah, I think it happens to everybody, and this is outside of art as well, right? It's for everything. You should, even if you're playing a sport, you're probably embarrassed about one play that probably lost to you, like a playoff game or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm learning Hungarian. It's the same thing.
Oh
right?
yes,
Like
Mhm.
it's not easy. I
Mhm.
speak with someone at work that that isn't Ulsterary. I work in retail currently, but I speak with someone who is Hungarian there.
Mhm.
And she always says hi to me. She'll say like "Sziasztok, hogy vagy?" and I'm like, I gotta switch to Hungarian. I'm like, shoot, and it's embarrassing to try and on the spot do it right. But the reason she does it is because the more I do it, the more I'll learn, the better I'll get at it. Sorry.
Similar to me with French.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to work at the same place that Eric did, and there were a couple customers that came in that spoke French, and I have some family that speaks French, and I went through most of high school doing it, and
Well, I'd
Yeah.
like to jump back quickly before we end it because we're pretty close to the end soon.
Yeah.
Because you talk a lot about your printer, but you don't just do printing. Like philosophy, I know you've learned quite a bit. You've grown quite a bit.
thank
and then
you
on top of that,
for that. Yeah,
you do the clips for Corona Perch, and the
Mhm.
editing for it, and so much has changed, and
Yeah.
so much has gotten
It's-
amazing.
it's a
from it,
little
you
bit
know?
late at night, so thank you for reminding me
Yeah, of
about
course.
that. Because
Liam's like, I'm a philosopher.
He's like,
yeah,
oh,
I forgot.
I don't just
Wait, my
print,
major?
print.
I don't just
My
print.
major, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm also,
Yeah, that's more of what I was referring to. It's like it's a little confused there, but that's okay.
He prints. What does he print?
I was
Pictures?
like, what are we? Wait a minute.
I'm a little bit dazed and confused here.
Yeah.
But where are we again?
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah,
Not a
so
basement.
Outside.
I would say absolutely. My writing
Yeah.
has come so far from when I started,
Yeah.
and
Seconds.
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
yeah, and I guess I've grown.
Oh goodness. Okay.
This is where we're gonna be ending it here.
Yeah,
We're gonna end it with Megan.
Okay. Here's the full circle thought for you little birdies out there.
Lord.
Do you guys have like a fan group name yet?
For
your-
you should ask the
your
fans, I
fans,
guess.
me?
I don't know. Lil Crows.
little
All right, little
crow.
crows. Here's how I'm gonna sum it up.
I like that.
I feel like. Okay. Scratch that. Restart.
You're doing great.
Here's how we're gonna end. I feel like the number one thing that's held me back from getting my art out there and fully showing off is my fear of looking stupid on the internet. And I've kind of found this point of acceptance now that I'm gonna look stupid on the internet. Posting
Everybody
my
looks stupid on the
Everybody-
internet.
art. You're
everyone looks
going
stupid.
to look stupid. It's okay.
Everybody
it's gonna be
does.
embarrassing, but you have to be confident in yourself to be an artist. You have to believe in what you're putting out there. I mean, I make art and 20 minutes later, I'm like, this is absolute garbage. But I mean, it depends on what it is. But a lot of the times I still end up posting it. And I still talk about my art to like clients as this. I'm super proud of it because I am. And for anyone else to believe in your art, you have to believe in your art.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and another big one
That's
you got to
powerful.
remember is you're not always going to make something insane. I
No.
have 4 other stories in the back burner now. 2 I might not even come back to,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. You
Yep.
learn
I
from
have
it. You have fun.
Endless archive of flash and up for grabs and sketchbooks that will never make it anywhere. And that's okay.
I like it.
They
But
can
and that's
be-
the other thing. You got to know that it's not always going to be perfect. Even if you came on the podcast
Mm-hmm.
and things haven't been completely perfect on here, despite it being a very perfect podcast.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So, but and we make mistakes. We get
Yeah.
off track. We're human.
Yes.
And that's what we like to advocate for.
Yeah,
And here we are doing it.
here we are, and I think that's all the time we have.
Well, hey,
so-
let's do some little plugs quick. Check
Yeah.
out at Megan Kirwin, please.
Please.
Like, do it.
Every day I make art and I hope someone will see it. And maybe today you will.
maybe today.
You will. There's no maybe. Check out our website, allscherrycomics.com.
Yes. And
Coded
this
it
is
myself.
this is my special shout out for the how many time this episode to Eric and the Alls Cherry brand.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Overall, they're doing some great work. I'm so very proud of Eric and Liam here.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I've watched Eric go from this weird little abstract painter to having a whole website for him. And that's so cool.
You have seen like the whole journey.
I know. I was thinking about the other day how far we've
More
come
than I
together.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah,
you
we
got to see
started
the
like
full-
painting together, and now we're a tattoo artist and a comic book. Like,
on
what
a, on
are
a
we
podcast
doing?
right now about a crow. I don't even know.
Yeah,
But hey,
We've come so far,
you come far and you learn and you change and blah blah blah. It's
and you
fantastic.
will too.
And you will too.
we're off the perch.
Thanks for having me on your perch.
Take
We
care,
appreciate you being
everybody.
here. Thank you.
And bye, little birdies.
My little crows.
Goodbye.